Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Let me ask you to assess the first 5 games of the Saints season as they head into the bye based on what your expectation was for them and what the reality is.
Yeah, look, I expected the ceiling to be 4-1 and to, if you're a Saints fan, be satisfied if they're 3-2. And as you just introduced before me hopping on, that's where they are. And look, it's you had some questionable games outside of the Green Bay Packers game. You won that game, but you lost 2 other ones. But no matter how you got there, you're there. And now you move forward, bye week, and you'll face a Seattle team that's going to be without Russell Wilson. And sure, you're going to have some tough games in the schedule going forward, but maybe some of the teams aren't as tough as you thought. And I feel like that happens in every NFL season. You assume there's going to be some challenging slate that's not, and then you might brush off another one, and it's more difficult than you think. But for the Saints, look, they've had to go through some identity crisis, what they are, what can they be, what they're not. I think we've learned some of what they are, and yet I still think that we move forward, and I still think there's some question marks as to what the Saints will be because of the attrition on both sides of the football as far as personnel.
Okay, let's talk about what the question marks are, because you mentioned attrition, but really what I see, Larry, is, and they're going to get a lot of guys back. So where are the biggest question marks that you see that remain on this team?
It's always going to be quarterback until Jameis Winston retires or doesn't play for the Saints. I mean, I think that's just because we at least got to see him throw the ball more than 23 times, but he was 50%, threw 4 touchdowns, and the 1 pick, Andres Pete stepping on Jameis Winston's leg. But I'm telling you, that camera is square on Sean Payton when Jameis Winston leaves the field. And it's apparent that Sean Payton gets frustrated with Jameis Winston. And I feel like he's barking at Jameis more than I've ever seen him bark at Drew, maybe in Drew's whole career. And it happens seemingly every other series. But I still think quarterback is the biggest question, no matter what, just because you don't know what you have there. And you don't know how Sean Payton is going to manage the quarterback spot and how to use Jameis. But look, we can go through a slew of other spots. Their pass rush needs to get better. They're one of the worst pressure teams in the NFL. Going into week 5, they were dead last in pressure percentage as far as just getting to the quarterback. We know the sack totals are low, but they're just dead last at even getting pressure, period. So I have not checked out the numbers yet on them after this week, but it's not like they did a ton to Taylor Heineke. So I expect them to still be low. So where do you get better there? David Onyemata could come back at some point. Marcus Davenport. So I think defensively, the pass rush has just got to get better. Still, offensively, the quarterback position to me is going to be a question, just because Jameis Winston is I don't know, a thrill ride or a scare ride or whatever, but he's definitely an amusement park ride.
How much better, though, do you assume they can be when you have Armstead, McCoy, Michael Thomas, Tre'Quan Smith, basically your full complement of weapons, which they should have against the Seahawks on Monday Night Football a week from Monday?
There's no doubt they would be improved. I mean, I don't think there's any question, which is why if you're a Saints fan, you've just got to be saying, okay, you got through 3-2. You got so many pieces to the puzzle that are either banged up or out, and you got to figure it out. You're talking specifically offensively. And just think about it.
Well, I was talking about offensively because you mentioned Jameis, and basically to say, like, what can they be offensively when they have what can he be when he's got all his full complements there?
Well, I think Jameis, getting Michael Thomas back, mean, that's a big deal. I mean, when he's right, he's a bona fide number one receiver. But how much has he worked with him? I mean, that's something that we haven't seen much of, or any, maybe in the last few months. But I think that Michael Thomas can become more of a safety blanket. It's not like you're going to go throw deep balls to him, but I mean, he becomes more of a safety blanket. Tre'Quan Smith, when he's in there, you and me have talked about him a ton, how he's unavailable, and that makes him a liability. But when he's in there, he at least brings a bona fide presence of catching footballs and catching touchdown passes. So that at least gives you more threats on the outside than what you have now. Now, we're talking about people coming back. I mean, obviously, Tron Armstead, Eric McCoy, you get those guys back at some point. That solidifies your offensive line even more. McCoy moves back to guard. I mean, Ruiz moves back to guard, and you have your starting five. But still, I think that we've got to wonder, what about Deontay Harris? What about Taysom Hill? When do they come back? Maybe Taysom Hill gets over the concussion, but Deontay Harris is on again, off again too. So, but I still think that this offense can get better. And I think that's something I think Saints fans need to look at, that this offense can improve. And we could talk about the defense here in a second, but I think you get pieces back for them. I think they can improve. And I think that they've been the side of the football that you've had to lean on through the first 5 games.
Larry Holder's with us. Am I just way more optimistic about this team at 3-2, considering all of the personnel losses they've had, and still to get to this point over 500? Larry, I marvel at the fact that all of the production they're lacking, and then you look at Sunday, 2 first-quarter turnovers. They missed 2 PATs. They lose Taysom and Deontay Harris on top of everything. They still won by double digits on the road. I don't know. Am I too optimistic? Am I too effusive with praise here?
I don't think you're too optimistic. I think it's fair, just because we could go through more than double digits of players who missed time or just got hurt. And I think it just goes to show you it's a wild parallel to well, they're not parallel, but one team in Baton Rouge has a coaching staff that can't overcome something. The other ones in New Orleans, they can figure it out and get it done.
Why do you hate Ed Orgeron?
I never said I hated him.
No, that's how it goes. If you say anything like that, you hate the coach. That's a rule.
That's not a rule.
No, that's basically what I've learned over the last 5 years. That's a rule. You hate the coach.
I was listening to your show yesterday, and it sounded like you've turned a few listeners. So look, you can turn them to your side.
I didn't turn anybody. They've just watched enough to realize that what I've been saying for 5 years is true. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Regardless, look, I think it just goes to show you that in the last few years, I mean, how much turnover on the roster and missing players that Sean Payton and the coaching staff has had to endure, and they still win football games. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's this. You add the turnover in the off season and then the injuries in this season, and it is pretty remarkable that they've been able to get to a 3-2 start. But look, we've seen having to switch out to Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill and still win games. So I think it just goes to show you that I think here in New Orleans we're pretty spoiled with the coaching staff and the job that these guys are able to do each week.
Isn't it? I mean, it's amazing too, Larry, when you look ahead. They're going to play Seattle on Monday Night Football a week from Monday with a week and a day to prepare. And Seattle's not going to have Russ, a game that you and I and probably everybody else took a pen and just scribbled an L next to in the preseason when we're filling out our schedule. All of a sudden looks actually like the Saints might even be a road favorite in that ball game.
Well, you don't trust Geno Smith? Come on.
Isn't that the point? You're going to go on the road and play Seattle, with the Saints getting healthy with extra time to prepare against a Seattle team without Russ? I mean, I like the Saints. I wouldn't have said that even 6 days ago.
No, I'm with you, and it just goes to show you, we in the media and fans alike, the season changes as you go along. You could assume something's going to happen 4 months before this, and then you get there and Russell Wilson's suddenly out. I mean, that guy never misses games. So now he's out, and your fortunes can change in a place where you're not used to winning too many football games, even though like a couple years ago they went up there with Teddy Bridgewater and beat Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in a tough environment, in a tough spot. So, look, it just goes to show you that sometimes you might think something that doesn't happen, but still, look, I'm with you. I like the Saints' chances there. And you could just look at the schedule. And like I said, they have some tough games going forward, but still, some of these teams might not be as tough. And the Saints, how many years in a row now we've seen the Saints get hot? I mean, they can get hot, and this could be something to where they can. So it's hard to bet against the Saints in terms of kind of fixing things through the last what we've seen through the last 4+ years, going on 5 years now.
Larry Holder, a couple more. I want to talk about the defense. I want to have kind of an uncomfortable but obvious and necessary conversation. Cam Jordan, man, the production's just not there. Is it circumstantial, or are we just seeing the end of a great career?
I don't think his career is going to end in the sense that if he were to be going for the Saints, someone doesn't pick him up. So I think that's something. But here's the thing: he has good pressure numbers, and I don't like to just judge defensive line and pass rush production on sacks. So he still has good pressure numbers, but how much is that actually affecting quarterbacks? I mean, he doesn't have the sack numbers. Obviously, you finish the product and it's an ultimate result. So you need more of those. And I think it's something that when you look at the dip in production there and how much money he costs and where you are, and you've got young defensive ends, I think we have to, if Cam keeps going down this path, we have to prepare ourselves that this could be his last year with the Saints. But still, I do think he can be effective. And if you get Onyemata back and you get Davenport back, and you get some players that can help him a little bit more, that helps. But still, look, we're seeing Trey Hendrickson had a great year last year, and he's kicking butt in Cincinnati right now. I mean, he's one of the better pressure players in the NFL. So that wasn't just some fluke where, Hendrickson was this good player and Cam Jordan was getting too much attention. I mean, we're in year 2 of this kind of slide, so I think it's something we're going to have to consider as we keep watching the rest of the season.
All right. What was your preseason prediction for the Saints? Did you make one?
Oh, I made 2, which is I went because I made one when the schedule came out, and then I made another once all the injuries and suspensions and such came down. So
I'm more interested in right before the season started. What did you think?
All right, I thought 8 and 9.
Okay.
So,
now through 5 games, would you adjust that?
I'd go back to my original, say 10 and 7. I always thought the ceiling was 10 wins.
Okay.
And so, and yet even making say an 8-9 prediction, I thought they could still go 3 and 2, and then they would have issues going forward. But I still think the ceiling's 10 wins. I think 10 and 7 is fair. I think making the playoffs has always been my expectation, even though I thought 8 and 9 might be rough. But no, I think 10 and 7 would be my flip-flopping prediction of the last, 2 months.
That's all right, man. You just have more info. I'm curious what you think now. I picked them 9 and 8, kind of hope that they might fall to 10 and 7 and get in the playoffs, but I would love to see 10 and 7, and I think they're probably on path to hit that and to be a playoff team first year post Drew Brees. Read all about it, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Follow him on Twitter @Larry Holder. He's with us on Tuesdays here during football season. We appreciate it. Have a good one, Larry. Thank you.
Hi, Matt. Good talking to you, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.